Hi everyone, it's Helena, welcome back. Today I'm going to do the base of the journal for the Goldenmeade and Tanya Leigh Designz NZ collaboration. This is going to be the base of the journal based on those two kits. I'm going to show you how I prepare my paper bags. This is going to be a base, it's going to be a paper bag, how I gesso it, and I'm also going to do some inking and stamping. Sorry, not stamping, stenciling today. So hang around because it's going to be a bit of fun. So first of all, we're going to prepare the paper bag. So don't mind the old woolies for what they do. I'm just going to take the top off where the handles are. I'm going to show you an awesome little trick too with the handles. Now don't worry about being too rough, that's perfectly all good. Save your handles and I'll show you why. Because I'll just do it with one quickly to show you. If you haven't already, these handles, if you cut them off, they unravel, and with them you get some neat texture to use in clusters or backgrounds or gluing them down. So if you see there, if you unravel the whole thing, these handles you get, probably get two pieces in them actually. But yeah, how cool is that? I might keep that to do in my journal at some stage. Then what I do is I just take the base off. It rips a little bit, that's all good, because we will be sort of breaking it down to the size that we need anyway. And it's up to you whether you use the packaging emblem. We are going to be covering this with gesso. You can also use white paint. I think what I might do is I'll take this one out and we'll work with the rest of it. So you've got a nice big strip of brown paper. And we'll just... And this is when you determine the kind of the size that you want to make it. I'm going to do sort of 8-inch high. This is probably going to be the right width. So if we have a look at that, that's about, it's about 10 inches or so, and I only want it probably about 8 high. So what I'm going to do is I actually just tend to tear it. This journal that we are going to make this time is actually going to be quite a rustic journal, so I actually don't mind a bit of you know, roughness there. And we want it about 8 high. So you've got a choice here. You can either fold it up at about the 8 inches, and that'll be a pocket. So if you can see what I'm going to try and do here, if I fold this in half, that's basically going to be the size of the journal. Now if I look at that, that is, it's actually 9 inches that way, and it'll be, yeah, about 12, it's about 6 inches this way. But don't get too hung up about that. What we're going to do is prep it first, and then we can chop it down or move it down to size. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to gesso it. I just like to, gesso is a sort of a medium that it protects the paper. You can use white acrylic paint as well. That's what I got from the op shop the other day, 50 cents. This is just a cheap gesso, which I got from one of those $2 stores. And I'm using a dry brush, and all I'm going to do is just go roughly over. You don't have to have a full cover. You'll see some parts will be thicker than others, but what I'm trying to do is just get a base down, because I am going to do a bit of inking and stamping, maybe a bit of watercolour required. So what will happen is that will just protect the paper from getting really soaked. So what I'm doing now is just covering it all up. A bit of messy play, nothing like a bit of messy play. If you don't like the brush strokes, you can always do the stippling effect like so. But all I'm trying to do is just get a little base down to protect that brown paper. Of course, you don't have to do it at all. You can do your journal straight onto your brown paper. I'm wanting to do a little bit of a grunge effect and something that's going to be a little bit just a little bit out there, which is also going to go with the kit really well. So basically that's it. Normally you'd let that dry and then you would turn it over, because obviously if you put it down now it's going to be mucky as, and do the other side so that both sides are done. But you'll see there's no fanciness to it. It's pretty rough and ready, and you can still see the craft paper through it, which is the effect I'm looking for and what I like to do. So I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to put you on hold for a second, clean up my mat, and I've got a couple that I did beforehand, and then we'll get on to the stenciling and inking. Be right back, hang on a sec. Okay, so we're back. This is a dry piece of paper done on both sides, and you can probably slightly see the packaging printing behind it, but like I said, doesn't matter. I like to get a bit of cohesion when I make my journals and books, and so I tend to at the very beginning kind of work out colours and some stencils. So these I don't have, well, this one's branded, the other two aren't branded, I'm not sure where I got them from. The colour of the kit is obviously denims and some neutrals, so I'm going to go with faded jeans, I'm going to go with vintage photo, I've got worn lipstick and scorched timber. And the reason why I'm going with the worn lipstick is that a couple of the papers have got like a sort of like a pinky kind of rusty browny colour and a bit of a pink to them as well. So it's very bright, and I don't have anything else that's quite pale. So I'm going to show you a little technique of how to get a colour that's going to match what you want. But first of all, let's pop this aside. I'm going to use one stencil. So I've got 3 stencils and I'm going to use 3 background colours. We'll start off with the faded jeans, which of course is the last one at the very bottom. And with the stenciling, I tend to just go around in different places like so. Some dark, some light. You see what we're doing here? We're just going to put down a bit of a base. So hopefully I'm just going to quietly go about this, and I'll speed this up and I'll come back to you when I'm done. So that's all I'm going to do with the faded jeans. Next I'm going to use a different stencil. Depending on your project that you want to do, use a stencil that you think will complement it quite nicely. I'm going for a couple of different things just to give it a bit of interest. So now I'm using a different colour and a different stencil. Now you can go over your existing colours, it really doesn't matter, but that is kind of the effect that we're going for. So you'll see that it's just giving the background papers a bit of interest. So again, I'll just be quiet now and carry on quickly with some stenciling. Okay. Right, so this little technique I've got with my last stencil, I'm going to just very randomly do it as well. But the pink is really bright and I really, it'll just be a bit yuck. So what I do is I'm using a silicone craft mat, which I got from Ribbon and Rose, I think, in Auckland. I ordered it, and it just wipes off. So if you've got a media mat or silicone works really good. Oops, picking up the wrong ones. Helena, sort it out. So what I'm going to do is I've got the bright pink and then I've got this dark scorched timber, and if you combine them together they actually make a really cool colour, and I use it that way. So you see how it's it's lost that bright pink but it's kept that beautiful colour. And you can do that with any of these are distress oxides, so you can do that with any of them. And you just carry on doing your little bits here and there. Now obviously the stencil still retains some of the ink on there as well, so depending on how much colour or depth you want, you can pick up new stuff or keep using off the stencil. So if you see what I'm doing, I'm just adding a few layers, and it just gives it a bit more interest and a bit more depth. Now we may very well cover it all, and you may only see just a few bits and pieces. I haven't worked out how I'm going to decorate yet, so we may actually end up losing a lot of it, but it doesn't matter because we're done. And I'll do this one as well. Now you notice that the pages are smaller than, you know, one's smaller, one's bigger, but that's okay. Once we start putting the journal together, which is going to be our next step, and we're going to do that right after I have a clean up, so stick around. Use up all the colour, and I just use wet wipes, baby's wet wipes, non-scented, you know, sensitive skin, whatever you want to do it, to clean up all of those things. And that will clean up your mat, and it will also clean up your stencil as well. And then I just dry it on a paper towel, or dry it with a paper towel. So as you can see, we've actually gone from a brown piece of paper like so to something which is quite different. So that's my junk part. I'm just going to put you on pause, and then we're going to put our journal together. Yes, we're actually going to sew it together today, right now. So hang 5, won't be a moment. Okay, so while I was off camera, I had a clean up, and I also did my other pages of backgrounds as well. So I've got 5 here. I'm going to also add in some papers from the kit as well, from Tanya Leigh's kit, which are beautiful vintagey style papers. So first of all, we just want to get the right size of what we want to do. This is my biggest page, so it'll probably end up being a cover, and I've also already, well, this one I put some, went a little bit further and did some watercolour stamping, which I'll show you in another video, but this one did have really strong packaging background on it, which came through the gesso. So all I've done is I've taken one of the pages from the kit and taken the white edges off. Now I wanted to keep it rustic, so I don't cut them, I basically tear them like so. So you have quite a rough looking edge on it, to the size I wanted, and then I used a glue stick and pasted it on. This page is a big one, so I've actually turned it up, and I'm going to turn that into a pocket. So I'm picking, I might use this one as my cover. Obviously it's not going to be my cover, but it's going to have a nice background on it, and that will be the back page. So all I need to do now is just make sure that all my other pages are going to fit within, and if they don't, like this one, we just need to fold them up or put a flip on them. Yeah, I know that's upside down, but you know what, it doesn't really matter. Now this one is slightly wider. I could just tear it. Maybe I will do that. This one, make sure they're all the right way up. Yep, that one's going to hang out a little bit over the top. That's all good. That one's the right way up, yes. This one's going to be the right way up. Now this one's got a big chunk out the bottom of it. You know what? It adds to it. It's all part of that edging. So what have I got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, that's going to go in here. So I'm going to tear this one up. I can almost hear people screaming at their TV screens now, like, Helena, what are you doing? But you got to trust the process sometimes. Beautiful ledger paper. Yes, I know, don't scream. No, I'm going to tear that one up too. 3. This one looks like it's out of an old stamp book, because it's got Liberia on one side and Japan on the other, which is very cool. And it really depends on whether you want a writing style journal or you want something with pretties. I'm going to do a bit of both. Like that. Fold these in half. Don't you just love this old ledger paper? Just gorgeous. Now my signatures are just I'm just having one signature basically. It's just going to be the cover and some internal pages. That's it. Put those in together. And a smaller one here. Yep. So I think we'll do that as my centre page. That one. I love this one. That one's quite wide. It's going to be way wider than I need. So I'm going to do this one off centre, and I'm going to have a side tuck, I think, and then fold it in half. Still part wide. Just make sure you've got your up the right way, otherwise it's going to look a little bit weird. Mind you, anything I do is usually a little bit weird. Now sometimes these things do look like a bit of a hot mess, but you know, just run with it and you'll be surprised at how they turn out. I think it was Kate at Retreat who said she doesn't do a lot of mixed media because every time she does it, it looks like a hot mess. That's actually okay and it's quite normal, so don't worry about it. Just keep going. Trust the process. What do we want on the inside? Actually, we might do that. Yeah. 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 It's got the pink in it to match. That's pretty cool. Let's throw it out. I always do another quick flip through just to make sure that we're not upside down or anything. Do we want that in the middle? Yes, we do. Okay. Now see they are hanging out. Doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. See through that. I quite like that. I think that's quite cool actually. Centre that one. Centre that one. as well, and then we've got the cover with the pocket. Okay, I'm happy with that. Right, where's my centre gone? There we go. In Tanya's kit there was a piece of string, so keeping with the rustic theme, I'm going to use string to bind. If I can get the string through my needle, I've got quite a thick needle here. Are we going to? No, doesn't want to. Some of these strings you do need to be careful because they pull apart, so do just be a little bit careful with that. Now I should probably have used a just going to put you on hold. I just went and grabbed some clips to hold these pages in place, and I'm just going to use them all, and we're going to eyeball it because that's the way I roll. You just need to make sure that we catch all the pages. And then you need to decide whether you want your string on the inside or the outside. I'm going to do the inside this time round. And I'm sure you've all done a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that will assist if you haven't. I use quite a thick needle. There we go. Back out through here. And then back in through the middle. That's the neighbours saying goodbye. Okay, make sure it's tight there. Oops, major wobble. Double knot. And there we have. I'm just going to leave that on there because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I'm not gluing that down yet because I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet. So all we've done is basically done the base of the journal ready to embellish, decorate and have a bit of fun with. And yes, Kate, you're probably right, it does look a bit of a hot mess at the moment, but trust me, we'll turn this junk and these beautiful kits into a work of art. Have a great day.